I saw all these like buzzwords, 4 years, 7 cities. It sounded too good to be true, but I had nothing to lose. So I just went in, applied. I got in, and I've never really looked back. Hi, my name is Manu Jayamohan. I am a graduate from the class of 2020 at Minerva University. I grew up and did most of my schooling in Kerala before Minerva. So during high school, I was part of all these coaching programs. I was tackling the IIT JEE, and I think it got to a point where I was just fed up with everything that was happening. There was a lot of unhealthy competition between my friends and I. There was a lot of focus on grades and what your ranking is in class, and I just didn't want to do that anymore. I hated every bit of it. So I started to Google things. I was like, I don't know why I had this idea that college was going to be the same in India. So I was like, what else can I do? And I started to Google, and thanks to the magic of internet cookies, I saw this small ad on my Facebook wall. It just said no SATs required, and I didn't have the time to do SATs, so I just went and applied. I saw all these like buzzwords, 4 years, 7 cities. It sounded too good to be true, but I had nothing to lose, so I just went in, applied. I got in, and I've never really looked back since then. I think the fact that I was not necessarily in competition with everyone was something that took me a while to learn. Like, because you grew up with the mindset of this competition, and like you're always like, how can I beat this other person? But at Minerva, first year, there's just so much going on. The approach to academics is completely different. You're trying to figure out how to live with people from 70 plus countries. There's a lot of community events going on. It's a whole new city. So it's the first time you're on your own, and you're trying to figure out adult things, right? Like what to cook for dinner, simple stuff like that. So it's quite the chaotic experience, and you can't survive it on your own. Like at some point or the other, you do find a band of people to get together with and try to tackle problems one by one. So yeah, after a while, it gets to a point where it's not like, how can I beat this one person in my class? It just becomes, how can we tackle this problem? So yeah, because you've had to deal with so many things, you do end up falling into the community based approach, and yeah, which you need. I remember the application process was quite straightforward. Like I had to do a bunch of tests involving mental ability, and then I had to write an essay, and then there was this challenge, like with problem sets and all those kind of stuff. So like a mini exam, and it was quite straightforward. Like I've been through the IIT JEE coaching, so I think I was prepared on the academic front. I was totally fine with it. And then, but I also had to shoot a series of videos as part of an interview process, which and that involved questions that were more about you. So at Minerva, we do a lot of reflection and introspection, and I think it started from the application process itself. So this was the very first time where I think at that point in my life, someone was asking me about things about, what I thought about and what my attitude and what my worldview was. And I like that. I like that the application process made me sit and think about who I am as a person. But overall, it was quite straightforward. And I think the questions are designed in a way to reflect who you are and who you want to be. So I think as long as you tackle it, honestly, and let yourself shine through, you're good. And yeah. I've always been interested in arts and film and theater as a kid, but I don't think I've ever voiced that opinion ever. Because I was a good a studious kid, and that was what was expected of me. So everyone expected that I would go down the engineering or the medicine route because those were the tried and tested, successful, lives that people lead in India. So that was the expectation, and I think I just never thought about breaking that norm, and I just went along with it. But at Minerva, I was surrounded by all these people who were just passionate about one thing or the other, and they just pursued it relentlessly. There was a person in my class who wrote a book when he was a teen, and then there was the other person who founded a startup at the age of 17. So like everyone had something that they were passionate about, and they just followed it. And seeing them, I don't know, I felt inspired, and I was at some point I just went like, what do I want to do? And then end of year one, my friends put together this thing called the 10-minute play festival. So where everyone came together and just did like 10-minute plays, and we did like 5 of them. So I just went for it. And I performed in this play that my friend directed. And I think that was the very first time everyone at Minerva saw this like other side to me. And there were, and at Minervans, if they see that you're passionate about this one thing, then they did push you. Like throughout the rest of my time at Minerva, whenever something related to arts or films or anything would pop up, they would just send them my way and be like, this is something you might be interested in. So because I had that sense of support, I think I started to believe more in myself that, oh, maybe this is a route that I could actually explore professionally. Yeah, so I just went for it. That's such a huge question. But I think if I had to put the answer to it in like one sentence, I would say that the whole experience helped me gain a sense of self-awareness. A knowledge of the fact that I am one person with a set of particular beliefs and perspectives that might not necessarily be right at all times. Because now I know that it's a huge world out there. Like there's so many different cultures, experiences, worldviews, and attitudes. So I think I like that I'm in this chaotic mindset of how can I do better in each situation instead of sticking to the idea that I'm right and everyone has to follow my own beliefs. So I think that sense of self-awareness itself is the biggest way that this journey has impacted me. I think the biggest difference in the way Minerva does classes and other colleges do their classes is this idea of active learning. So we don't have a professor at the front of the class just lecturing at you throughout the session. Instead, the classes are always some sort of discussion. So there's always some sort of like a group activity going on, some sort of a debate or some challenges where you have to contribute from start to finish, right? So you're actively involved in the discussions. I think that is the biggest advantage and the challenge at the same time. At the start of Minerva, I think I was this quiet kid who didn't necessarily have anything to contribute. Like I was shook at the fact that the professor asked me what I thought of something in the beginning. But I think by the end of Minerva, I was one of those kids where I was like, oh, I think this, and I would always raise my hand and be willingly contributing opinions to the discussion. So I definitely grew a lot because of that format of classes. But yeah, it can be quite stressful at times as well. I think I'm in touch with most of my classmates either through Instagram or Messenger. But I think one of the difficult things about being a Minervan is that after graduation, you and your friends might not necessarily be in the same city, and it's a long distance friendship for a while, which is cool. Like we do enough catch-up calls, and like we have virtual reunion meetings, so that's always fun. In terms of other like benefits, I guess the sense of support and like helping each other doesn't really go away. Like the other day, one of my friends sent me a job opportunity that they found in India, and it was related to film. So even though we've graduated, like whenever something or the other that comes across that you think might be helpful for another person, we just send it to each other. Like and in our alumni group, like whenever someone needs something, we just put it on the group, and there's always someone to answer. So I think that's pretty cool. I guess another cool advantage is like because the Minervans are like all over the world now, like when you travel, you don't necessarily need to pay for hotel. So I was catching up with this other friend the other day. He said he was traveling quite a bit and he paid nothing for accommodations because wherever he went, there was a Minervan who he crashed with. So that's a really cool advantage, I think. So I'm currently in India. I'm trying to build a career in the film industry as a filmmaker and an actor. And I think the sheer audacity to pursue that as a profession came from my Minerva experience. So like I said, I was supposed to go down the engineering route, but now I know what works for me, and this is definitely something I want to explore. So getting that courage came from Minerva. I do have a couple of contacts, like networks that I'm starting to build in the industry, right? And I think that started with Minerva itself. So we had this like professional networking event when I was in my second year, and that's how I landed up an internship in a production house in Goa. So that was my summer experience, and actually came from Minerva. And also for our final capstone project, which is like the thesis dissertation, right? It's so open-ended that you can make it anything that's relevant to you. And I decided to make it a script. So I wrote a screenplay as part of my final project. So at Minerva, I think I actually taught myself the skills related to screenwriting and filmmaking, which was helpful for my other classes as well. So I think that open-endedness and that freedom to play with what you want to learn in your classes at Minerva definitely helped me quite a lot. So far I've been working with a lot of different short films and documentaries, and I just made a music video for a musician based in Kerala. And now I think I'm working on my own stuff. I'm developing 2 scripts at the moment, so we'll see how that goes. Hopefully the production starts rolling soon, which I'm very excited about. So yeah. Minerva, I think, has been one of the most terrifying experiences of my life, but also it's been the most rewarding one as well. So for someone who's thinking of going to Minerva, I think I have 2 pieces of advice actually. One, know how to take care of yourself. So like I said, it's definitely one of the most chaotic and stressful environments that I've been a part of. So knowing what works for you and finding your support system. So like finding friends who are gonna be there for you, and yeah, finding your own traditions or rituals like journaling or something that gives you comfort is important. So yeah, find what's comforting to you and be ready to use that whenever you feel stress during your time at Minerva. And I think the second thing would be to be open-minded, and I think that's one of the most important things to be, because you grow up, like when you grow up in a bubble, like you have your own set of misconceptions and like biases. So be ready to have all of those broken, because again, the world is a big place, and you might not necessarily be right about everything at all times. So be curious and be curious and just be asking yourself, what can I do to be better? I think that's the mindset to be in when going through an experience like Minerva.